So in this particular lecture, let's go ahead and let's see how we could get rid of this particular border which we have for the inner input field which we have. So in order to get rid of this, this could be gotten rid of by adding some CSS and setting the outline of this particular input fields to none. And in order to do that, you need a CSS file, obviously. And if you actually go to VS Code, you will be able to see that currently we have multiple CSS files. The first file is obviously this file from which we actually create this file, which is style.css, and this style.css is a file which is generated by Tailwind. And now what we do is this base.html is actually a file which actually is linked to this styles.css. So one thing which could be done is that you could make modifications to this styles.css, or another thing which could be done is that you could simply go ahead and kind of make change to another CSS file by creating a new CSS file, and that's actually a lot better way to do it. So in here inside the users directory, I'll go ahead and I'll create a new file. And let's name this thing as style.css instead of styles.css. So here, what you need to do is you simply need to say that, okay, for all the input fields which we have on focusing, that means whenever I click on them, I want to set the outline of those particular fields to none. So in order to do that, here I would say input focus. So this is CSS code and you don't have to worry about understanding that. Here we simply set the outlines to none. And as soon as we do that, this outline over here should disappear as long as we add or make the base.html use this particular file. So now what happens is you need to use this file and you need to place that file or this styling file right next to the file which is this file right here, and this is actually going to override the code which is present in there in the file which is generated by Tailwind. So in here I'll simply copy the same code, but this time I'm actually going to make this thing use a file which is style.css instead of styles. So once I make this modification, now let's see what happens. So if I hit refresh, and if I now click over here, as you can see, even if I click on it, that means if I focus on those particular input fields, the blue line doesn't appear. And the same is the case with the other form as well. So if you go to the edit user profile form, and if you click over here now, as you can see, we no longer have that annoying looking blue colored border here inside our input field, and that thing is now completely removed. So that means if you go ahead and style any one of the pages which you have up over here, the blue border is not going to appear, and that's because any form which you create, they are all going to be inheriting from base.html, and base.html actually has access to this particular style.css file. So in the upcoming lecture, let's go ahead and let's style up this create.html page which we have up over here, and you could also do it on your own as well. You simply have to use the code which we have actually used in this form right here. Simply use a single div from here which has a label and the input field, and simply change the name of the form fields which you have by inspecting them. So let's do that in the next one.